Good morning and happy Wednesday. For those of you who follow Fly Lady, you know Wednesday is always anti-procrastination day. It's the day of the week that we spend 15 minutes working on something that we've been putting off. Last night I put together a list of 10 things that I've noticed that people put off, and it's things that you do around your house, and they're things that we look at as not fun, we look at as drudgery, and we put it off and put it off and put it off, and it becomes one of those things that we neglect for a month or two at a time. So I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about this list and how we deal with this with the Fly Lady. Everything that's on this list is a part of your basic routines, it's a part of your daily plan, or it's something that you just need to be doing. Maybe it's part of the weekly home blessings. So I want to talk about each one briefly and tell you how I handle those and how I've incorporated them into my busy days. Swish and swipe. I talk to so many ladies who put off swishing the toilet and swiping the sink. It literally takes less than 2 minutes to do that, but we just don't have that habit developed. We let the bathroom go and go and go, and we don't clean it, and then all of a sudden we need to do a deep clean, and that takes a long time. I'm in the habit of doing my swish and swipe when I get out of the shower because I'm wiping down my shower walls, I'm wiping out my bathtub, I do a quick swish of my toilet, wipe my bathroom counter and sinks, and I'm done. The boys do their swish and swipe in their bathroom at some point during the day. But for me to remember to do it in my routine, I have to do it right after my morning shower. And that just seems to work very well for me. Even when I'm on the road, I find myself wanting to do swish and swipe. It is so much a part of that routine of getting ready in the morning. Laying out clothes the night before. Homeschoolers look at it as pajamas can be their school uniform. And I tell you from personal experience, you're going to be more productive and your kids will be more productive if you take the time to get those clothes laid out the night before and have them ready first thing in the morning, whether or not you're leaving the house. Dusting. Dusting is put off and put off and put off because a lot of us were raised where if you didn't take everything off the shelf and dust, you weren't dusting properly. For your weekly home blessing dusting, it should take you 2 to 3 minutes. If you use a feather duster and lightly dust around the things on your flat surfaces, that's all you need to do. As we work through our zones, then we do our detail dusting. Then we clean off shelves and we wipe the little things that we have sitting out and put them back. Dusting gets put off because we want to do a perfect job with it. But if you just start doing these quick dustings each week, you're not going to have quite so much dust to deal with each month when you're in that zone. Cleaning out the fridge. This is one that things end up in the back of the refrigerator in a drawer and they just stay there. Wednesday is the day that the Fly Lady recommends you clean out your fridge, and that is the zone mission for today since we're in the kitchen. It is to clean out those science experiments, wipe the shelves, and just be done. Quick job, don't take too long doing it. I typically will clean out my refrigerator on Thursdays because we take our trash out on Fridays, and that way this stuff doesn't have as long to start smelling bad if it's a really bad science experiment. But pick a day, whether it's Wednesday for anti-procrastination day or the day you take off trash. Clean out that refrigerator regularly. Get that food tossed that you've not eaten that is not even good to make soup with. Vacuuming. When you vacuum, you want to move furniture, you want to have every single thing in the house picked up and off the floor. When you're doing your home blessing vacuuming, just vacuum those high traffic areas and don't worry about making those pretty little lines in the carpet. I know there's some of you out there who do that. Some of you may not do much of anything around the house all day, but if you vacuum right before your husband gets home, you feel like the house looks cleaner. So do a quick vacuum each week. If you live in a high traffic area with lots of little kids, you may need to have the areas vacuumed more than once a week. But if the kids are tracking in dirt, have them help with vacuuming. Sweeping and mopping. That's another one that gets put off. In my house, we sweep pretty much every day. Joanne, I see what you said. You spilled the sola. Yeah, we had a spill this week too, and we ended up doing another mopping in between our regular mopping schedule. But do a quick sweep if you have lots of little kids who have crumbs in the floor, or like we live in the country, so a lot of dirt gets tracked into the house even when they clean their shoes. So a quick daily sweep, and then each week do a quick mop. I have 1,000 square foot of laminate floor that gets mopped every week. It takes us 10 to 15 minutes depending on who's doing the mopping. I can move a little bit faster than the boys. Decluttering paper. We put off decluttering paper because we don't want to make decisions about paper. We don't want to decide what to do. We don't want to make a follow-up phone call. We're not ready to pay a bill, whatever. So we end up with this stack of paper that we just don't want to deal with. Spend 5 minutes a day decluttering paper. This morning I spent 10 minutes filing paper into my monthly files, and it was 10 minutes and done. So work on decluttering paper and filing the things that you need. And Joanne says she spilled the other gas inside the car and it's strong. Oh, that's when you have to leave the windows down on the car. Sometimes when the boys are pumping gas for me, they get on their boots, and then it's not a very nice ride back home. And decluttering paper brings us into paying bills. Establish one day a week or one day a month where you pay bills. It may be every other week, depends on the pay schedule for your spouse and maybe your pay schedule too. But figure out when you can sit down and pay the bills. Then you're going to know how much money you have left to budget for food, for clothes, and for entertainment. So have an established time. I do my bill paying on Fridays. That way I know what I've got to spend for my food budget for the week, and I work out my menu plan accordingly. Going to bed at a decent hour. In the past 2 years of talking to ladies, this one gets pushed aside a lot because we ladies like to stay up a little bit later because that's our quiet time. That's when the kids are in bed. That's when we have a few minutes to ourselves. Work on your bedtime. I am in bed and asleep most nights by 10 o'clock. I am at least in bed by 10, and I get up between 5 and 5:15 every morning. So I have a pretty established schedule. The only times that it really gets disturbed is if I'm on the road or when we have time change. I don't adjust well to time change, so I'll just be honest with that. That's not one of my favorite times of the year when we do that, but it takes me about a week to get back into the groove of my evening routine and getting to bed at an early hour. So if you're struggling with being tired during the day, take a look at when you're going to bed and when you're getting up. Try to get up at least 15 minutes before your kids in the morning. If you can get up 30 to 45 minutes earlier than they do, it's going to give you time to have your coffee, get dressed, and be ready to tackle the day, because most kids roll out of bed ready to talk and do something. So give yourself a little bit of time to wake up and be ready for that. Work on that before bed routine and get to bed at a decent hour. And the last thing I put on my top 10 list is getting dressed down to the shoes. There is so much resistance to this, getting dressed to the lace-up shoes first thing in the morning. I promise you, you will feel better and be more productive, and your feet will feel better too. Most of you that have watched my videos know that I run. A big part of how well I feel gets down to the kind of shoes I wear during the day. I wear a good pair of supportive walking shoes during the day, and then I have a different brand of shoes I run in. But that helps me keep my legs in good shape and my feet. I suffered from plantar fasciitis 2 years ago, and I had to find shoes that felt good that helped me deal with that. So get dressed down to your lace-up shoes and encourage your kids to do that too. If you have kids that have outdoor chores that they have to do around the yard, or if you have animals, they can have outdoor shoes and indoor shoes. Because I know there are things from the chicken coop or the goat pasture you don't want to track into your house. So work with your kids on them getting dressed to the shoes too, and everybody is ready to go if you need to leave the house. Lynn says that one of her biggest problems is getting to bed earlier. It is hard because all of a sudden everybody's gone to bed and it's quiet and you can think, and you spend a few minutes on the computer dealing with emails, you look at mail, you read a book, you watch a movie, and before you know it, it's 11 or 12 o'clock at night. I've done that, and I feel much better and have more energy by going to bed early and getting up early and taking care of myself. So that getting to bed at a decent hour is a big part of taking care of you. So if you have questions or comments about my 10 things that I put down, it's also on my blog at tammyfox.net. You can drop a little note down here in the comments too. I do see them on Facebook and on YouTube, and I try to respond to those as they come in. So I hope you have a fantastic anti-procrastination day. If there's one thing on this top 10 list that you have not been doing, I want you to stop and do that today. Pick at least one of them, and you're going to feel better. And if you've been putting off making phone calls, today's your day. Start making those phone calls, make your appointments, and do your follow-ups. Have a fantastic afternoon, and I will see you guys tomorrow.